Has the hobby become just one big casino? We'll look at modern wax, where's the market, behind the scenes, and get to your viewer comments at the very end. All this week on EDI Sports Show.
There's only one show, there's only one show that I want to watch. HOBBY, EDI Sports Show drops every Friday. Every Friday, hot take, where's the market behind the scene? Viewer comments, talking the hobby from the streets to the car show. This be hardcore sports from the host with the most. Only one show. Only one show.
In this week's hot take, we're going to look at how the hobby has changed over the years from what it used to be to what it is right now, which is sort of like a big casino, where in every single box you are competing in a sweepstakes. Now, for those of you that are younger, if you're under the age of 35, you probably don't even know this name, but Publishers Clearing House. That used to be the biggest sweepstakes in America, and basically they would do at the Super Bowl, they would give away $1 million every year for people who used to buy magazines. Now, that was a huge sweepstakes. It was gambling, and your chances of winning was very, very slim. The problem is that that's now what's happening in hobby boxes and wax boxes that we buy at retail outlets like Target, Walmart, and Best Buy. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of look at why is the hobby sort of a gambling casino now rather than what it used to be. And I'm going to get to the interview that I did with Trike 415 Sports Cards. Yes, that's so if you're looking for that, wait, we're going to get to that in a second. But here's my take on this. Back in the day, when you bought a wax box, you actually got 36 packs. For anybody that's under the age of 40, you probably are like, what? 36 packs in a box? Yes, that's what a wax box was. There were 36 packs. Now, I don't remember exactly how many cards were in a pack, maybe like 10 or 12 cards in a pack, but you can imagine you do the multiplication on that. That's several hundred cards per box. Right now, you're spending at retail, so that's at Target, Walmart, or Best Buy, you're spending $20 for 50 cards. That's it. Now, I don't know about you, but your ROI is going to be very low on that box because you only get 50 cards. Like, you can't get anything in the box. Now, the other thing that has changed over the years is that when you bought that wax box with 36 packs, they just printed the cards. Like, that's all that the manufacturers did. So Topps, Donruss, Fleer, and whoever else, all they did was print the cards, and the hobby decided what was the most valuable cards, not the manufacturers. You bought the box, ripped it open, and then you got lucky whether or not something was in the box that other people wanted. But it was the hobby that determined what was valuable. Right now, we have Fanatics and Panini and Leaf. They determine what they want to be the valuable cards. That's why base cards are no longer valuable, because the manufacturers don't care about base cards. What they want is the sweepstakes. They want to create this chase. They want to create this value for you. And so now when you buy a box, you're not buying it for the cards, you're buying it for the sweepstakes. Literally, you're buying a lottery ticket. So that's the problem that I see, is that I want it to go back to, if you're going to 10x the hobby, you have to go back to actually just printing cards. Now, I'm going to let Trike talk about what he thinks, and I thought his idea was very, very smart. But let's go to what Trike says about modern wax. So the question is, do you think that modern wax is good, or should it kind of go back to a little bit what it used to be, where the boxes were bigger so that you got more cards? Because it's not really the price point. I mean, obviously hobby is stupid, but retail, like the price point is fine. Like around $20 is fine, especially for a parent, but you're getting 50 cards. Whereas back in the day, there were 36 packs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like, so if you bought a box for $20, which is pretty much what it was, you were getting several hundred cards. It would take you like a couple hours to go through and then sort all the cards. Like it was an adventure to it. Now you're ripping a box in like 10 minutes and you're like, that was it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm curious to know your take on it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like I wish it would change. I think some people go too far with it. Like they'll try to be like some sort of white knight. Like, I know we're not going to make profit every time we open a box. Like that's just not the reality of a situation. But I think first of all, to me, honestly, I'll disagree with you a little bit. Like for me personally, I wouldn't want that many cards in a box, but also I'm coming from it a little bit older, right? If you're a kid, like you said, maybe the search and stuff is a little better. But regardless, like the average return is like 10% and it's just too low. It's just not fair, you know, especially once you're talking about hobby boxes and stuff like that, where you're losing real money. And just too many parallels and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things I would change, but I mean, if I had to choose one, there needs to be a better return for your money. 10% is just not really fair, you know?
So what do you think about modern wax? What do you like about it? What do you hate about it? And what would you change? Put your answer in the comments and we'll get to it next week. Let's check out Where's the Market? Since this episode is all about possibly gambling in the sweepstakes of modern wax, why don't we look at the market for modern wax and kind of look at the comparisons between back in the day and today, just so you guys understand where I'm coming from when I say that you're not getting any cards for the amount of money that you're spending. So let's take a look at the first box, which is from 2023. So this is a blaster box. There are 7 packs in this box. And then this is a 2024 retail box. So this is a mega box. And then the last one is a blaster box from 2024. So that's right now in stores right now. And there's 9 packs. And so we're going to take a look at it. What a 2023 blaster box goes for is about $20. Like I said, that's 7 packs. Then a retail mega box that's 20 packs, that goes for $70. And then a blaster box from this year is about $25. And so let's just do the comparison. A 2024 blaster box, 9 packs, 12 cards. Back in the day, a 1989 wax box was 36 packs with 15 cards per pack. That's what this looked like. So that's the 1989 wax box. That's what it looked like. There were 36 packs in the box. And so here's a comparison. So you can see on the left side, you got 1989, 36 packs, 15 cards per pack. That's 540 total cards in a box. And then a 2024 blaster box on the right side, 9 packs, 12 cards, 108 total cards. And so you can look at the bottom and see how much you're paying per card. So this is where the problem comes in, I think. This isn't inflation. This is called they're just not giving you any more value. And I think that's what Trike Sports was actually talking about, is that you're only making 10% of the box back. So if you spend 20, you're only getting $2 to $5 out of that box. And this is the reason why. If you're paying for a box and you're getting 23 cents per card, like that's what you're paying, then you need each card to be worth more than 23 cents. In fact, you need each card to be worth way more than that. And that's the problem, is that back in the day, you were only paying 4 cents a card. So if you got 2 or 3 cards out of that box, it kind of made up for it. You could actually get back some money, maybe 50% of the box, or in some cases, especially with some of the real high-end rookie cards, you could actually make back all the money you just paid on the box. In today's market, you can't do that because you're paying 23 cents per card. And the top cards aren't worth all that much money because you're not getting them. Those are the sweepstakes cards. And so there's only 1 out of every 100 boxes. So the likelihood that you're going to make those lottery picks is really small. So you're just paying for nothing. And that's what I think is the real problem. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below. Let's go behind the scenes. So I thought it would be fun to actually show you guys like my new studio here. Yes, I'm sure you can see the background is a lot different than what it used to be. I'm still unpacking. There's a ton of stuff. And so this is actually doubling as my YouTube studio and my workspace. So I have a lot of stuff to do, but I thought it would be fun if I showed you some of the stuff that's on the bookcases behind me and just sort of give a sense of like, you know, where I'm at, what I'm doing, and just kind of go behind the scenes. That's the whole point of this segment. So here we go. I'm going to show you a little bit. All right, so let's take a look at the bookshelves. We'll start with the one that's right behind me when I'm sitting at the desk. And so here we go. We've got, starting at the top, we've got a Nolan Ryan starting lineup. We've got a Ken Griffey Jr. That's the sign that I had when I did the Arizona State show back in November. Didn't sell it because basically where I'm in the desert and nobody cares about hockey here. So anyway, that's what I was trying to do. We do have two mini basketballs. That's the second year, 2003, when they lost to the Spurs. And then this was the first year in 2002 when they actually went up against Shaq. Unfortunately, they lost the series because you can't beat Shaq. But here is the 1986 Royal Crown Soda. This is the can. So 1986 this is the 1994. So you can see New York Rangers 1994 Stanley Cup. Funny because I'm in the desert, but here you go, 1993 Western Conference champions. So that's when Barkley was on the team. For those of you that sort of know me, I guess, so I'm an expert in education. This is the book that I wrote that explains how you actually fix the school system. You got a Mets and a 1986. And then this was, when I was looking at colleges, I went down to LSU because I was thinking of playing baseball. I did get recruited D3 to play baseball, but my body just gave out. I'm not really an athlete. When you're a kid, you think you're an athlete, and then you start meeting actual pro athletes, and you go, "Yeah, I'm not an athlete." So, but I did play sports my whole life. Played baseball, played soccer, played tennis, played hockey. So, you know, basketball. I played one summer at UCLA for basketball. So, just played sports my whole life. For those of you that watched my sports card journey, here is Greg Jeffries rookie card that I burned. So that's a souvenir for myself. Other than that, what I'm going to do, as you can see, so when I went to college, I thought, or one of my passions, one of my goals was to be a sports journalist. So, and I wanted to be on ESPN. Unfortunately, I look like I could be on ESPN now because I look like a man. But when I graduated from college, I looked like a teenager. And so ESPN was not putting me on air. But that's what I did for my graduation. And then I'm going to basically organize. I can start to display my collection that I have finally gotten rid of the hoard, the 8 million cards that are all gone. So that's my hope. I want to thank you for joining me on this behind the scenes. If you have any questions, you have any comments, if you're like, that is a complete mess, I get it. It's a complete mess. I know, I'm organizing it. So, but I want to thank you for joining me, and let's get to the next segment. Now let's take a look at the viewer comments. And the first one comes from @4Rebecca. And it says, from a financial perspective, has the hobby been profitable for you? Thanks for the question, 4Rebecca. So here's the best way I can answer this question, because I started in this hobby way back in the day, back in the 80s, and I was a teenage sports car dealer from the age of 13 to 18. So for 5 straight years, I actually ran this like a business. And so for me, in terms of profit, I was profitable back then. So all the cards that I have today are sort of just extra cards. If to put it a kind way. I already made the money on all the cards, and so these were the cards that were left over. Now, I also accumulated, just so everybody understands, and that was actually the web series that I created, My Sports Card Journey. You can go to that playlist. There's 4 episodes there, and it's sort of my story about selling 8 million cards over the last 5 to 6 years. And so I made money on those cards as well. So overall, yes, sports cards have been profitable for me. Now, I want to make this very, very clear. Just because I made profit doesn't mean that I got rich. And I think that's the biggest issue for a lot of people that are in the hobby right now, is that yes, you can make money, but if you want to actually make this a real business, like you want to be able to live off the profit of your cards, then you have to restructure the way that you do sports cards. In fact, probably the best model that I can see, there's actually 2 models that I would recommend if you want to emulate being successful. One is Burbank Sports Cards, and the other is Chasing Cardboard. Those 2 models seem to be working the best. Now, Burbank Sports Cards is a retail outlet that also has online sales, but they do volume, which is why they can make money. And they have many, many staff members, but again, they do volume, which is how they make money. Now, Chasing Cardboard, on the other hand, they're doing more social media, and so their business model is much tougher. They have to try to get the same volume, but they can't because they just don't have the capacity to do that, as well as they just don't have that level of inventory because they don't have basically a warehouse to hold everything that you would sell. But that's the problem right now in the hobby, is that it's hard to actually make a living. If you want to be a sports card dealer and you want to go from show to show to show, you're just a traveling salesman. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a very grinding way of living, and that's not what I want to do with my life. So overall, the answer to your question is yes, sports cards have been profitable, but no, I have not made a living off sports cards. The second comment comes from Coopstain1728, and it reads, imagine losing $4 million. This is the same guy who said Will Greer is a 4 times better investment than Kyler Murray, which both are not very good investments. Even the huge cards that he buys, like the LeBron Refractor or Steph Curry, modern cards are not the way to go. Too many produced, too many parallels. Maybe in 50 years I could be wrong. Well, Coopstain, you're right. I agree with you 99%. I think all of these manufactured cards are not going to be worth very much in the future. They might be worth something to you as a collector, and I'm actually making a video, which I hope you guys will watch, on the 3 types of collections that you can build, and this is actually part of the point, is what should you buy and what should you stay away from? Because what you should buy for your collection is going to be different than what another collector is trying to do. Like what I'm trying to do in my collection is not going to be chasing these cards. Now, on the other hand, one of the things that I want to make very clear is that in today's world, social media plays a very big part in what these cards are going to be worth and which superstars we follow. One of the things that was missing for about 10 years is that no one watched sports on television. There was no news on sports stars. Basically, if you were a fan, then you followed your team. But other than that, you didn't know about any player outside of your city. But now with social media, superstars are emerging, like a Justin Jefferson, who because of the Gritty and Fortnite, he has become a cultural star. So even kids that have no idea anything about the NFL, they know what the Gritty is. And that's the point, is that we now have superstars being made because of social media. So if you're looking at Will Greer or Kyler Murray, should you buy cards like that and should you put money into those cards? No, the answer is no. Should you buy Desmond Ridder? No. So who should you be looking at? And so the question becomes, who are the stars that get the most media attention? And so you're looking at Patrick Mahomes, you're looking at Travis Kelce. Your Taylor Swift effect is a huge thing for the sports card hobby if everyone capitalizes on that. Again, Taylor Swift has hundreds of millions of fans. There are not hundreds of millions of sports card collectors. So that's the piece, is that if you want to 10x the hobby and you want your cards to be worth more money in the future, then you need more people to want sports cards. The more people that want sports cards, the more value there will be in the future. The less people that want sports cards, there's only so much money to go around. So your sports cards are not going to be worth as much as they are today. I want to thank you for joining me this week on EDI Sports Show. If you want to be a guest on this show, please reach out to me on X or Instagram at EDI Sports Cards. There will be a new episode every single Friday right here on this YouTube channel. So until next week, this is Doc saying, I'll see you next Friday.
One show, only one show, one show, one show, only one HOBBYEDI Sports Show drops every Friday. Every Friday, hot take with the market behind the scene. View with comics, talking the hobby from the streets to the car show. This be hardcore sports from the host with the most. Only one show, one show, one show. Only one show, one show, one show. Only one show, one show, one show. Only one show, one show.